Hi, everyone, and welcome to Hanratty'S Huddle. I'm Rob Adams. Happy to be with you on this edition, which, Terry Hanratty, what is this, episode 7?
I believe it's 7. Lucky number 7, right?
Lucky number 7. You were number 5. Why?
I was number 5. I was number 11 in high school. And that was sort of given because back then, the starting quarterback was number 10.
Yeah.
Then the backup was 11, and, when I was a sophomore, I was a backup, and I got 11, so I stuck with 11. You go to Notre Dame, and you're just hoping to get any number. And all of a sudden, they give you number 5, and you're just happy to get it, and happy for it, too. Then I kept it through the Steelers.
Do you have an affection for number 5, or just because it's what you wore?
No, number 5, it's funny how much it just jumps out at you at times.
Yes.
And you go, wow, is that all because of I had the number 5 back then? Or, you go, whoa. Then you start thinking, wait a minute, calm down. It's only a number.
So you're not attached to any number?
Not really. 5 is I'm attached to 5.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, some players get so attached to their numbers. It's their thing, You could never imagine Tom Brady in anything other than 12, even though he wore 10, I think, at Michigan, right?
I think he was 10 at Michigan. I know when the 1 year I went to Tampa Bay, they had a 5 there, so I was automatically they gave me a 5 again.
Yeah.
So it would really be weird when you go to a team and somebody already has your number.
That's true.
Then you go, you pay the guy off to get the number. That's
and
when you really know how attached you are to that number.
That is very true. That was not the avenue I expected us to start on, but I like that little
good one.
Yeah, I like that one because I love numbers. But okay, the place I wanted to go since the day we're recording this, big news in the NFL and big news for Steeler fans is the termination of Matt Canada as the offensive coordinator. And I guess let me just throw it open to your thoughts. Does it matter? My worry is, because I'm not big on firing people, my worry is you fire somebody, then what? What's next? Who are you replacing them with? So I'm curious your thoughts.
Well, that's the thing. Who do you replace him with? Because you're firing him in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
So you can't go and get another guy. Maybe you have a list of 5 guys you want to be offense coordinator, but they're already with somebody.
Right.
So they're not leaving their team to come in the middle of the year. It's just too confusing. And to fire, the Steelers are basically 500. I don't think they're going to go much higher. I think they're in a very difficult division. I'd love to see them go, but got to be realistic about it. But, Kavanaugh, or what am I saying? Canada.
Canada, yeah.
The lovely Canada. Oh, Canada. And, he had problems with this. Or you could see it. You have a young quarterback, and you have a coordinator that, they were not on the same scale. And I would watch the game. I'm a big believer in throwing screens.
Okay.
And I think we've said it before that when you throw a screen to be pretty much guaranteed success, some form of success, you have to throw it against a zone defense. Because if you throw it against man-to-man and you want to throw a screen to your running back, well, there's a guy on the defense who is watching him.
Yeah.
That's his man. He's man on man. He's going to stick with him as close as can be. But if you throw it on a zone, people are dropping back into their zone when the quarterback looks like he's going to throw the ball. Then you dump it off to the screen. Your linemen have a chance to get out, get nice space where these big guys can now hit some little guys, the defensive backs. And you got to have a perfect situation. Well, there were 3 times in that game that I saw Pickett throwing screens against, we call them slow screens.
Yeah.
Because they take long to develop, as opposed to the bubble screen where the quarterback picks the ball up, boom.
Yes.
Throws it out to the wide receiver, whoever out there. But in this, all of a sudden we got thrown for a loss because there was a man coverage and the linebacker was right there. And you have to teach the quarterback how to read defenses. And if you think as a man, get out.
Yeah.
There's other successful plays out there because a lot can happen when you're just trying to dump it off because it's an easy pass or anybody can pick it off.
It felt like to me too many times I saw Pickett on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, throw a screen, throw something short. You got to get past the sticks. like, why not, throw a 10-yard pass? What you like the screen, so help me understand.
I do like the screen, but you can't throw it every time.
Right, exactly.
I mean, there's certain times you can do it.
You got to go downfield.
You can throw the screen maybe 3 times a game because you want to catch them off guard. You want to catch them backing up for that pass. But you are taught as a receiver, if you have a 3rd and 12, you run your route to 15 yards.
Yeah.
Then you come back for it, boom, then you got the first down. If it's a 10 yards, you run 12. If it's 8, you run 10. You got to run past the sticks because the quarterback is trying to lead you back away from the defender to get that space up. And why? I mean, there's so many 3rd and 8s. It's 4th and 2.
Yeah.
Even if it's completed.
Yeah.
But you have to stay out of 4th and 8 or 3rd and 8. That's why you have to win on first down.
Yeah.
You have to get minimum 4 yards on first down. Now you got 2nd, and the defense has no clue what you're going to do. You got a 2nd and 4 or 5. You go, wait a minute, they can throw, they can take this, they can do that. So you want to keep them being defensive, and you stay offensive.
Yeah, that's the idea.
That's the name of the game. I'm on offense, and the defense is supposed to stop me, but don't stop yourself.
So, will a new voice in the room help the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively? Is that going to be, or are we just kind of moving the furniture around?
Well, you think they would announce right away who it would be,
right?
I mean, if Tomlin had, I don't think. I mean, it would be very strange if they took someone off who was retired, or someone would leave a team. I've never heard of that before, but you would think that he would immediately say, the quarterback coach is going to take over. He's going to start calling the plays. And that's probably the other thing. I mean, in the 70s when I played,
right,
we called our own plays. When I was a rookie in 1969, I went into the game. I was calling we had 300 plays. We could audible to all 300. So it was a lot of studying that a quarterback had to do. And every situation we would go over it in meetings. We would go over it with the quarterback coach. But you never had an offensive coordinator.
Interesting.
Because when you get in a huddle, it's a strange thing because you get in a huddle and you look at these guys in the eye, and you can see if one of your linemen is a little nicked up or if this guy is really winded.
Yeah.
You try to go away from that and give them a little bit of a break, but not try to hurt your team.
Right.
But you want to give them a little bit of a break.
But you're reading body language.
You're big on body language. And I don't think, then they start bringing in coordinators. I'm going, wait a minute, you have a head coach. And the definition of a quarterback is supposed to be an extension of the head coach.
Yeah.
Now, in between that, you have a quarterback coach, you got a line coach, you got a tight ends coach, you got a wide receiver coach, you got an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Well, who the hell's running the show here? And I think they're really trying to complicate this game. And football is very simple. It's a lot, basically based on blocking and tackling.
Right.
So you can expand from there. But I think there's too much now that they're trying to do. And if you ever hear of play, we used to call, like full right split 62 basic. That was a popular pass. That was it. Everybody knew where they were going.
Nice and easy.
Now you hear these guys give a play,
and
I have no clue what they're saying. Sometimes you catch them on the replay or just live, and all of a sudden the quarterback is on and on and on and on and on and on. And you go, whoa, you're telling everybody what to do. Then you got to change the blocking on the line of scrimmage. We had to do the blocking, but that was just part of the game because you'd coordinate with your offensive linemen.
So has it become too intricate, just too involved?
They're trying to make it too involved.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You keep it simple. You can complete that sentence.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. They really complicate a pretty easy game.
Yeah. We were talking kind of about, an offensive coordinator's role and the makings of all the coaches that a quarterback has to deal with. How about constructing a team? How do we construct a team?
I think very few people know how to construct a team. I mean, even at a professional level, when you have these president, you
got a president, a GM,
all these.
Director of football operations and all this other stuff.
And the guy ahead of the draft. And remember Detroit for years. Every year they went for a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And you start looking at it and say, why are you doing this?
Yep. not working.
What you have to do, the only way, no matter what level you are, whether you're grade school, high school, college, pros, you have to start with the interior line.
I agree.
The big guys.
Yep, big fellas.
And if we stay on the offensive side for a second, every once in a while there's going to be the quarterback who is the man.
Yes.
And you're going to have to maybe take him number one. But right behind him, you flood yourself with offensive linemen. And I've said before, I can take guys off the waiver wire. If you give me my choice, my offensive line, I'll take the guys off the waiver wire and make them a 1,000-yard rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Because these guys are going to open holes for him. And these guys are going to protect the quarterback. Going to give that quarterback a little longer to make that decision, especially when he's young. Because it takes longer. It's a much faster game in college. So it takes a little longer and there's a lot different. The intricacies on defense are incredible nowadays. So it takes a little bit, we're talking a second and a half, that's it.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to get adjusted to that. But you have, and don't go for the wide receiver. Everybody, I remember talking to somebody in the Giants, and it was Odell.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham.
OBJ, yep.
He came out the same year as Zach Martin from Notre Dame.
That's right.
Detroit or Dallas. And I'm saying, boy, you guys got to take this guy. So he's going to be in the Pro Bowl for 12 years, and he's going to be no problem to you.
Yep.
You just plug him in, and he's going to play forever, football-wise.
Yeah.
But no, they want the wide receiver who can make the one-hand catch once and become famous for that one catch where you got a guy over here who's going to be there 12 years. You plug him in, he's going to play every down. And people try to go for the name. Give me the big hog up there that nobody knows his name. It's all they know him is by number 70 or number 72.
I mean, just anybody who understands football could just go back and look at the construction of the 70s Steelers, how they did it through the draft.
Well, look at any team that has been successful.
Exactly.
What do they have in common? All have great offensive lines.
Right.
So why not?
There's a reason they're called the Hogs from Washington back in the day. You constructed that through the draft, and away you go.
And you want, the same thing if you're looking at it from the defensive side. Steelers. My rookie year, Joe Green was the number 1 pick. I was the number 2 pick. Mm-hmm. Chuck decided to go the defensive line. Those are you can go offense or defense, but either way, you have to stick to the line. Because those are the guys that are going to block things up for you and free up. When we were the Steelers, we rarely blitzed because we had LC, Joe, Ernie, and Dwight got all the pressure on the quarterback. You didn't need those linebackers to get in there,
right?
Which frees them up, drops them back into pass coverage. So those
thinking
about trenches on both sides are the most important thing for any football team, any level. But no one will stick to it. They all want to go. For the All-American, the Heisman Trophy winner, he was a great running back. But if you have nobody blocking for him,
right,
he's average. Look at the Steelers.
Yeah.
This kid, 22.
Najee
Harris. He's probably a great back. But the Steelers' offensive line, they never give him any room to
terrible.
Run. He has to get a little bit of a crack there where he can get through, then do damage. But if you're not going to have an offensive line, forget about that running back. But people are enamored because they're more thinking about the headlines of drafting this glamorous guy, All-American running back, as opposed to offensive lineman. Who cares about that? I do as a quarterback.
Absolutely. The Chiefs are are the Chiefs the model organization? Now, who's the model organization in the NFL in your mind?
Andy Reid is the best there is.
I agree.
I think he doesn't. I've told him, because I keep hounding Notre Dame, we do not throw any screens at all. The 2 or 3 we've thrown all year have been great successes.
Yep.
And I said, you should go out in the off season, spend a week in Kansas, 2 or 3 days in Kansas City. Andy Reid is a great guy. He'd love to sit down and explain how they run screens. He'll screen tight ends. He'll screen running backs. He'll screen fullbacks. He'll screen wide receiver. Anybody, the coach, if he jumps out there, he'll throw a screen to him. That's to keep everybody off balance. And he does such a great job. Speed is great. You got to have it.
Got to have it.
Speed kills, right?
Yep.
Got to get the guy down the field to extend the defense. That way your guys are possession receivers can come underneath. Boom, easy throw for the quarterback. And Mahomes, hard to explain him.
It really is hard to explain him.
You can only really tell when I try to analyze him a lot. He was a really good middle infielder.
Yes.
So he's used to making that double play throw. So that motion, no one realized that motion with the football sidearm.
Yeah,
that's very difficult on your arm.
Oh yeah,
I've done it before. It's painful unless you do it a lot.
Yep.
And these guys do it like it's nothing. Aaron Rodgers does it. He does it. I mean, they just throw it like a pitcher's throwing a sidearm pitch.
But those baseball skills of Mahomes, that's interesting, and I think you're right because then he's got that willingness to throw the ball at almost any angle, and that's a baseball thing.
That is. He's making that
the
awkward
shovel
throw,
passes,
the shovel pass,
all these
awkward
other
throw
things.
to second base to get the double play started. And that's the whole thing. And he's remarkable. I mean, that game last night they should have won.
Yeah, they should have.
They had three or four passes dropped them on him.
How deflating is that as a teammate to see those passes dropped?
I always said, if someone drops one of my passes, there are many times I didn't get the ball near him.
Okay.
So it balances out.
Yep.
Someone's going to drop it. Hey, that's part of the game. I'm going to throw an interception. Hey, that's part of the game. Let's clap your hands, start the next play.
And just get right back to it.
You have to. You have to because it's going to happen.
Yeah. The assembly of a team is such a fascinating topic that I'm glad we went down that road of trying to figure out how do you really build a good team and who is the model. And as you said, it's Andy Reid right now. So
you have to really in the secondary. I mean, we got the defensive lines figured out. The running backs on offense, I don't think. I think it's showing more and more. What they don't have in college or pros anymore, very few, and Andy has it. He'll put a fullback in there.
Yes, he will.
Nobody uses a fullback, and that's such an integral part of your running game. They get bored. He's blocking. All of a sudden, you spring him up the middle. That's a good 20-yarder. And you got a receiver who can catch the ball. No one ever guards the fullback when he's in a flat. And he's always open.
You mentioned the fullback, and the Steelers had Derek Watt a few years ago. Didn't use him. I mean, misused him.
Yeah.
You've got another Watt in the family, and the Steelers have two of them with obviously TJ is just a monster.
They got Hayward, who they try to, Hayward's brother.
Yes.
They try to, he's half tight end, half fullback.
Yeah.
And but you have to have a real fullback who that's his game. I mean, he knows how to play within the tackles, how to run the ball within the tackles. He knows that lead block. He knows how to pick up a blitz. Huge. A lot of times you get the running back who's, just that's his big thing is run. But he's 185 pounds, 190, 200 pounds, and then all of a sudden you got a 250-pound linebacker rushing the passer. This guy's going to get run over and quarterback's down. You get the fullback who can step up in there and make that block. And that's what very few teams do that anymore. And it's such an integral part. Belichick did a lot with New England. He used the fullback a lot. And the guys that do it are successful.
Belichick, speaking about fascinating, what's going to develop there with him in New England, whether or not he's there next year, does he move on? I'm fascinated to see what happens with Bill Belichick.
I think he's really made himself, to be one of the great coaches of all time. I think he should probably step away because it's such a mess. He's lucky to have Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He went to Cleveland originally, the head coach there, and he, dropped the bucket there.
Yeah.
And Parcells brought him back to New York and groomed him some more, and he finally ended up in New England. And just by injury, he runs into a Tom Brady. And that was a pretty good run that both had. And, then all of a sudden Brady leaves, he wins a Super Bowl at Tampa Bay. Who did it up in New England?
Yeah.
Was it the coach or was it the quarterback? So, those things you can always throw around.
Interesting questions to consider. Michigan, Ohio State, are you into it?
I am very much. I'm shocked that it's a noon game.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be a classic 7 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Where you could, just sit back and relax. Now you got noon and sort of in the middle of the day because it ends at 4.
Got to carve out a little time to make sure you watch, right?
You got good time to get that leftover turkey. So that's a good one.
Harbaugh will be working all week with them. He just can't be at the game.
He can't be at the game, and it's interesting because they were protesting that call. And all of a sudden they showed us that we have some video.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm good.
And they stepped right, okay, that's a nice deal. We'll go by that. But I think what really burned me is when they got caught for recruiting the first part of the year.
Yeah.
before the season started, that Michigan is going to implement, they're going to do their own punishment, and they suspended them for 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the 3 games, it's like playing 3 Division II teams. I mean, they were absolutely nothing. You and I could have gone, not knowing anybody on the team, and coached victories in those 3 games.
Yeah, I'd say you're probably right.
So the university did not step up. And I get a kick out because you get all these players saying, it's us against the world. I go, wait a minute, you guys cheated. Maybe it was only your coach who cheated, but you go to him. Don't blame the rest of the world for bad mouth of Michigan here.
Yeah, it's not you guys against the world. I don't think.
No.
For Notre Dame or any college team, the long break between the end of the regular season and a bowl game, is that bad thing, good thing? Does it matter?
We were fortunate when I was at Notre Dame where we did not play bowl games.
Correct.
And there was only about 8 of them.
Yeah.
And there was a rule at Notre Dame. And instituted there that you have your regular season, and that's the end. Now you're back to a full-time student at the university. And it was sort of, it was nice because we all got to go home for Christmas, spend with our friends and family.
Yep.
So you got to see the holidays. It's time to hang out with your buddies in the school. And we all lived, it was never a football dorm. We're all stretched out through the whole university, so you got to know a lot of people that didn't play football, and which was great. A bunch of my friends today, I never played football, and so it was very nice. I enjoyed that part of it.
Do you wish you ever played in a bowl?
Well, I was supposed to play in a bowl, after my senior year. The Senior Bowl, and
right,
and I was going to play in the Hula Bowl, but then I got a knee operation.
But the Orange or, none of those ever really...
No, it was something I wanted to go home and watch. I mean, we finished our season, and, all 3 were successful. We won a national championship my sophomore year.
Exactly.
Then top 10 finishes the next 2 years. I mean, the 66 team was a special team.
Yes.
It doesn't come around that often. But we were very good my junior and senior year, so that was good.
I'll tell you a quick thing about that. You met my son this week at the Old Timers Banquet, and I mentioned the game of the century to him, and he's not a sports fan, to be honest with you. He's gotten into kind of what we do. I said, game of the century, da-da-da, and he goes, oh, yeah, I know all about it. I said, what do you mean you know all about it? He had a class in high school, and they touched on Michigan State and Notre Dame.
Wow,
66.
that's interesting.
I was very impressed by that. He said, oh, yeah, I know.
That was one of the real – that's back – with the rules back then were absolutely crazy because it was they billed as the game of the century.
Right.
1 against 2, Michigan State against Notre Dame. We're playing at Michigan State. But it was not a nationally televised game.
That's right.
People don't realize that because back then you could only play 3 nationally televised games in a 2-year period. So we had both teams that used it up. So what they did is they blacked out North and South Dakota, then made it regional, 48-state regional.
That's the way to do it.
Clever.
We have hit kind of a potpourri on this edition.
We did. It was just fun. Jump around. That's good.
That's very good. All right. We'll look forward to a happy Thanksgiving.
And to you, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all our fans out there.
And we'll see you next time. For Terry Hanratty, I'm Rob Adams. We send a shout-out to Dave Toromio as well because he's part of the family. But you've been listening to Hanratty'S Huddle. We'll see you next time.